You are now listening to Mom Brain with Falolity. I am Reah.
I am Indra.
Together, we'll talk openly about parenting, challenges that come with it, personal growth as parents, and finding balance amidst the ups and downs of raising
We're
kids.
gonna bring a lot of value to the table.
We're here to share, learn, and grow together. Welcome back to Mom Brain with Falolity. And joining us again, of course, is my beautiful co host, Indra.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello again. What was a long time I haven't seen you.
Right. So I think today we are gonna one of the things we want to kind of talk about is, we go through these life changes within ourselves and with our kids, and we have goals for ourselves and for our kids, and sometimes we start achieving those goals and then it kind of brings its own new set of problems, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
So we previously talked about a kind of a focus for your son that was for him to make friends. There was a point where he was really struggling to make friends, and then all of a sudden he became this social butterfly. And now you're kind of finding yourself like, okay, well, he has all these friends, he's going out and it's great, but now we
Mm.
now we have our own set of problems with this because there's a little pushback with time. Hey, be back by this time. And I've experienced it before with kids. It's like, you give them an inch, they take a mile saying. It's like, okay, well, you can go do this now, and they just kind of run with it. And you're like,
Mm.
okay, well, now we got to reel that back in, because now you've got this freedom, and well, now we have to have rules. Well, like, I'm glad that you have friends, but you have to follow my rules with time and stuff like that. So, we
Yeah.
thought that'd be a great starting point for conversation today.
Yeah, but first of all, I would like to say I think we haven't filmed after you became a grandmother.
I don't
With
think
your
so.
grandchild. So I just wanted to bring it up and say congratulations for your beautiful, such a cute one, grandson. And I'm so excited. I'm excited. I see your pictures you're posting and what you're sharing with me in private. And I am just so grateful. And, to see you like to have five kids, again, five children, being a mother, a businesswoman, a mentor, thousand millions responsibilities, and now be a grandmother. I'm sorry if I just gonna I missed this one. This is your first grandchild. Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
just
Yes.
before we just dive into the story, I mean, about responsibilities with my children, or advices from you, would you just share how are you feeling? Then you became a grandmother. Is any changes in your feelings? I mean, because that's interesting. So I know what it means to be a mother and the feelings I felt when I mean, then my son born since the very first second, then I was pregnant also,
Yeah.
all these feelings and changed. But that's really interesting. I mean, yeah, how everything is. Do you feel like you love him more like your children, that, like that huge love? I mean, if there is any space for better, for more bigger
Right.
love in the world, like it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, so this is when people ask me how I feel about it, or, like, am I enjoying it or whatever. I've always heard the best part of being a grandparent is that you can give them back. And,
Mm.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's not true, but it kind of is, because it's like, okay, well, I can take care of them, I can love them, but I can still sleep at night. And that's my favorite part. And just kind of it's interesting. It's like I love this child like it were my own, but I also know at the end of the day, he has to go back to his mom. Like, it's kind of cool because it's you have you have some of the responsibility, right? Because this is my daughter's son. So naturally, I feel responsible for him. In a kind
Yeah.
of like backseat parent kind of way. And I've always been like the main parent, and so I thought it would be, and it was in the beginning, it was kind of hard to take that step back and say, okay, well, this is not my child. So I have to, everything isn't just by my standards. She has rules and things put in place for him, and I have to abide by those. It's not just me calling all the shots, it's kind of interesting because, I'm used to me being the rule maker, the enforcer, and everything else. And, while he's not at the age yet where I'm having to like enforce rules, but it's you know there's guidelines and boundaries that I have to respect. So that's kind of a new dynamic, in that regard, of okay, well, I'm not the one making the rules for the kid, but my daughter is very respectful of my opinion.
Mm.
And I'm very involved in the caretaking of him. uh there was a point in the beginning where I kind of found myself like trying to be in parent mode, because that's what I'm used to doing is being a parent.
Yeah.
And so there was just simple things, nothing major and nothing dangerous and nothing crazy, but then I was like, oh, like he's kind of small. Are you sure, that's a good idea? And I got kind of
Bless you. That time winter coming.
and yeah, and I voiced that concern with my daughter, and she shared my perspective of why she was doing the thing this way. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, then we just kind of understood each other. Also, I have to understand that, like, the last time I had a baby was 10 years ago, and things are different, like,
A loss.
they're different. Like, I mean, my grandson yesterday was genuinely babbling. Like, making consistent noise. Like, what what the fuck are we? Is this are you like 6 months old? What is happening? I didn't think they did that at not even he won't be 2 months old until he'll be 2 months. He's 2 months on November 13th. He's not even 2 months old yet. Like
Very
that's
clever boy.
right. It's so weird. He's already like holding his head up pretty well. We still, kind of have our hands behind it. But he holds his head up pretty well. Tummy time yesterday, he'll take his legs and scoot already. Like if I put him on my chest, yeah, it's crazy. I put him on my chest and I'll put my hands behind his feet and he'll push with his legs and scoot all the way up to like my shoulder. It's crazy. But he's been doing that for like a few weeks. So I'm like,
Oh,
yes, it's wild.
it's
Like
wild, but
it's wild.
yeah.
So,
But
it's
that's,
been
fun. That's crazy. Well, that's
yeah,
so beautiful to see how, that
yeah,
can be everything different and unexpected.
yes,
And kids, can really, some kids can born with their teeth.
yes.
I
I
hear these
I've seen
stories
that.
too,
That's crazy. That's freaky. Like he's been chewing on his hands a lot, and my daughter is like, please tell me he's not teething. Like there's no way that he could be teething at 2 months old, not even 2 months old. I don't know. But
Yeah. Oh, well,
and
anyways, I mean, to be a grandmother, that's amazing feeling, isn't it? And as I understand, of course, she's your daughter, and again, she needs to learn everything by herself. So,
right.
you can help, you can support, and I think your responsibility and your duties is to just support him and to be a grandmother, but not, um to take full responsibility of how he has to grow up, because this is
Right.
he has to
Right.
learn, and this is also, her life. Well, I understand that,
Yeah.
because I know then I remember like my son born, and of course parents want the best. They wanted to give you some advices and help, and I even didn't want them to come over. They've been in Lithuania. We were here, and I think my mom asked me if I want her to come and help, and how would you help me?
Yeah.
Even if I would breastfeed him or not. How? I would see it's not like a help, but just another person in your house, and you just need to also look after somebody else. And
Yeah.
I always
Yeah.
wanted to be independent from it. I can listen something, but I will not take that for granted. So
Right. Right. Yes. Yeah. It's crazy.
yeah, but congratulations anyways. Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
your
Mhm.
first grandchild. Now you have 6 kids, children.
Basically, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, but only three of my five still live at home. So there's only four, two young adults and two kids in the house now.
cool. Amazing. This is our third episode, and I've shared first in a first episode the challenges while I was going through my healing journey, and how it affected my son. On
Yeah.
a second episode, I've shared like he found a lot of friends. He is happy. He is enjoying his life. He is spending time. He has sleepovers, and his friends comes to us, and I cook pizzas and buy Coca-Cola and all that stuff. And now I want to bring up that, I have to now ask advice. Okay, how I am dealing with responsibilities. Because he doesn't really now understand any like limits. There is no limits in his head, because it never was. He always was with me,
Right.
always was at home. He had some friends, maybe on a phone. He spent some weekends at his dad. We had some issues at school, and always been community, all that stuff. But now he has friends, really good and nice boys, and they are going to the park. We're playing football, we biking, we going out, we are sleeping at each other's houses. He doesn't really sometimes understand any limits. Like, mom, I am going, and I don't know when I come back. You 10 years old boy,
Right.
where are you going? And then you're coming back. And then, mom, he's coming to sleep to us. I said, why? Why not? Why did you ask me? Yeah, but okay. And the other day he told me like, um, but mom, you told me, you was keep telling me that I need to find friends and I have to go out, not play PlayStation. Now you are angry. I said, don't manipulate with me. I'm not angry. And I love you having friends. The only thing I want just to know where you are, when you're coming back. I want you to know that to have friends doesn't mean that you're living with friends, and
Right.
that you have rules also at home, and I am working, and sometimes we have just weekends for ourselves. Sometimes
Right.
you go with your at your I mean to your friends, and sometimes we are coming. Yeah, but in his little head, I don't want him to feel like now I'm not happy because he's having friends. I just want him to teach him um a limit, it's a responsibility, and kind of understanding that, I mean even if he is spending time at his friends and he has sleepovers, so next morning or by the, let's say, 11 o'clock a.m. he should go home, because there is other family, there is other parents, and not maybe other children. They need to have their own life, their privacy, and they of course probably wouldn't tell him, you have to go home. So I'm telling him like, you should understand, like, there is other family, and you have to understand that they have their own life and you can't like stay like 24
Right.
hours.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, this is my not a concern, but a topic I wanted to bring today.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think you're doing the right thing. Communication is always key in these situations. And he's 10. Is he turning 11 soon, or did he just turn 10?
He's nearly 11, yeah.
Yeah. So, we're also dealing with like entering into puberty soon, if not already, um, where we're approaching these hormonal changes and things, and that in itself can be difficult to navigate because we as women go through our own hormonal changes on a regular basis, fluctuations, and things that we have to learn to navigate on a daily basis. And then you couple that with a child who is entering puberty, and we're kind of at times we can find ourselves kind of battling each other's emotions, or getting frustrated with, okay, there's a balance that I've had to learn in between because I said so, and explaining why. And there's times where I've said, just do this because that's what I said to do. And there's times where I'll take the time and kind of, okay, well, this is why I say for you to do this, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's appropriate for them to ask why if they're being respectful. Well, mom, why do I have to come back at this time? And sometimes we just want to say because I said so. And then, sometimes it's more appropriate to say, just like you're doing. I think what you're doing is perfect. Like, well, you have to come home at this certain time because the family's house that you're at, they have things to do, or, we have things to do here. I also still want to make sure I include my time with you. We still want to spend time together. And I think it's very age appropriate for him to kind of shy away from like mom and son time because he has these friends now, and that's all he wants to do is be with him, right?
Of course.
So it's age appropriate for him to kind of go through what he's going through and to kind of pull away from you a little bit. And I think that what you're doing is saying, hey, let's make sure we still have this time together is really important because especially at his age, he's gonna start like puberty is gonna start rearing its
Yeah.
ugly head, and he's gonna need still that structure, and he's gonna want still to maintain that bond with you. So like I honestly, I almost kind of wish that I had other advice, like, hey, try doing this, or but I think honestly, what you're doing is really great.
And I mean, I mean, I am pretty happy because I feel so good to be on my own and to have my, I mean, not because I don't want him to be here, but because,
Right.
I
Yeah.
see he is growing, he is socializing, he is happy, and I love those children because they are amazing. And I know their parents, we are communicating, we have WhatsApp now. I mean, that they're lovely parents.
Yeah.
And I
And
couldn't
that's
be
really
more than
important too.
happier.
That's
Yeah,
really
I could,
important too.
yeah. So that's a gift. I
Yeah.
am treat I'm accepting as a gift from the universe because I it was, and yeah, yeah, and everything just comes like a perfect time. And I mean, because he is now, he's bigger, he's understand logically, he has his phone, I can control him. Like if he would be like a year ago, would start his, those going out a lot, probably, yeah, would be a little bit maybe different because I would need to be more involved in all that thing. I would need constantly check on him and would, call or go to look for where he is. Now I kind of trust, and for me it's very easy because I can do my stuff. I can work. I have clients. I am filming. I am editing, and I know he's happy. He's playing around somewhere, and I can fully trust that everything is fine. If
Yeah.
he would be like as I said, year ago, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't be concentrated so much on what I do. I still would be, I mean, checking on him. So I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
happy.
no, and it's kind of this like catch 22 because we want our children to grow up and not need us as much, right? But then
Exactly.
and then sometimes when it happens, you're like, no, wait, come back and need me a little
Yeah,
bit more.
I'm telling him every single evening. I'm hugging him and saying, and the other day I said, would you like to sleep with me? Sometimes when we watch movie, we have, of course, different those covers, and we're not
Yeah.
sleeping under, one. So, and he said, well, no. I said, why no? Because I am big boy. Okay, I said, great, cool, perfect.
You're like, my heart is breaking, but that's okay, you
That's
know?
okay. I got you. I understand. And he's saying, Mom, if you wanna go out, and yeah, yeah. And I mean, if I will not come back, you will be able to go to, yeah, yeah. If you have to stay somewhere, like, this was, of
Right.
course, a joke, but we
Yeah.
understand he is growing. He's nearly 11, and then after 11, they're gonna go to 12. So, yeah, that's a time, and especially now, and he is socializing with and communicating with friends. He is literally changing every single day. He is growing so quickly. I mean, mentally, psychologically, not
Yeah.
just physically, but
Yeah.
with what he taught telling me and how we speak. And I mean, he is like a little different now. He's like a little coming, like he is like not a little anymore, but
Right. But that's crazy because
very crazy.
but
That's
like
very crazy.
age like 10 to 13, more so 11 to 13, but like, you know, coming into 11 to 13 is such a transformational age because
11, 13, you say? Yeah.
yeah, because they're
Okay.
going from being a kid to a teenager and it happens so
And
quickly.
and probably their hormones and all that stuff
Yeah.
gonna start. Okay, so
Their
now
interests change. They're not into the same kind of kiddie cartoony stuff all of a sudden. And then too, if they go to middle school and now they're in school with teenagers. Like my son, his school is kindergarten through 12th grade. So he is already around. But my other kids, they went to elementary, which ended at 5, and then middle school 6th to 8th grade, and then high school 9th to 12th. So it's separated. So you imagine going, you've been a kid in a school with kids, and now all of a sudden you're going to middle school where you're in school with actual
mm,
teenagers all day long. And so naturally you want to be those teenagers, right? You want to be
of
the older,
course.
right?
Remember our times. Yes, of
Right.
course. Yeah.
Right. So they're, that this age that they're entering to, both of our boys is like, oh, they want to be big boys now. They're kind of getting out of the little
Yeah.
boy stage.
Yeah, he already, because I needed to fill a form for next year for higher school, and I literally thought I want to go to this school. I said, okay, I even didn't know which school to apply, but okay, why? Because all my friends going to the school. All right, okay, so that's priority. Yeah, okay, cool.
Right.
So yeah, and
Yep.
then yeah. But one amazing thing he has, um, a time, how is in English to say no, not at I'm telling you, when by then you have to come back, or by then you have to call me, or and he's so punctual. He's such a punctual boy. He will come back 10 minutes earlier, even if he's leaving his phone on a charge. And I said, well, how do you know what time? Oh, my friend got a phone, so he is very I mean, I can trust him.
Like
If I said you come
responsible.
back by 11, if I say by 6, whatever the time it is. So he
That's
will
great.
do so. And I'm so happy about that because that's easier for me because I know he will come back.
Right, right. And that can be difficult to kind of adjust to as well. Like you're used to always knowing where they are, and all of a sudden they're out enjoying life, and you're like, okay. It's kind of, I remember just this past year, like over the summer, um, you know, two of my kids, well, one of my kids had moved out. Uh, my other kids are 22, 18, 16, aside from my youngest. And so yeah, it was over the summer because my son would stay at my mom's from time to time for me to work, work on the podcast and run my other business and stuff. And so the house would be so quiet and there's like nobody home for me to take care of. And it was so weird. Like, well, actually, two of my kids. So, two of my young adult kids had moved out. So, and then, one was working and one was probably at volleyball practice. And, my youngest was with my mom for the day or something, the weekend or something. And it was just so quiet. And it's like, oh, wait. It's like, it's a
Mm,
gift and a curse because it's like how you mentioned earlier about, doing things for ourselves, taking time for ourselves. And then when we're so used to caring for someone else or for other people, we get that time and we're like, wait, what do I do now? What am I supposed to be? You're supposed to be doing something for you, taking time for yourself. Oh, well, that's weird because I'm not
yeah.
so used to having the space to do that, and not in a bad way. Like that's my responsibility as a mom is to take care of my kids. So it's not that I'm like, oh my gosh, I never get to blah blah blah, but you get that time. They start getting older and you're like, oh, like I don't have to hold your hand anymore. Like you don't need me every second of the day anymore.
Yeah,
That's
but
weird.
that's yeah, this is we are so attached. We are so
We are, yeah.
attached, and this is exactly, we have to work. But I am a little, I mean, like, I know my son's daddy. We communicating a lot, and it comes to son, and he is like always like if it's evening and he knows that he is outside, like well, he should pack by this time because it's a little bit like, maybe too dark now or too dangerous. And yes, I
Yeah,
do agree. And I speak to him, to Lucas. But I mean, I want us to say that, I mean, I have a little bit different view. Yes, I understand there is like, a danger. It can happen anything, we don't know. We have to protect our children. However,
right.
we also have to learn, to navigate through life. They
Yep.
also have to learn to, to be a little bit late sometimes and come back, in a dark. I mean, I don't know, maybe some parents would judge me about this, but when I mean, if not now, step by step, because I know he's not on his own, walking around. He is with friends. I mean,
Yeah.
they all together. We then he's coming back. All his friends also, going together. So he is not on his own, and I know it's like um yeah, and I mean, I want him to learn also, to be
Yeah.
safe and to also understand that he has to be careful, of course, and don't walk alone. And if he is with friends, or come back home not alone, if it's
Yeah.
evening.
Yeah.
But I don't want to keep him like in a that, safe comfort bubble, like, oh where he is, or is his friend good, or is his friend's parents, all the details, because life is not about that. Life is, you know we have a lot of examples when kids growing, like, like parents always looking after them and they are not going anywhere, just, like in that safe space, which is okay, but then they are grown up and they are adult and they actually go. I remember myself, to be honest. I remember when I finished school and I moved to the upper city to study in a university, and it was just like freedom. Wow, that's the life. Parties, alcohol, friends,
Yeah.
missed lessons. I mean, all that. My life was like I was party girl, but I was enjoying in that, and I wasn't actually very careful, to be honest. But I mean, I'm lucky I was fine. So
Yeah.
I don't want him, to feel that freedom and to just lose his head and do anything later because he does. I mean, he couldn't explore this now. I mean, step by
Yeah.
step.
Yeah, but that's a very important point as well because, me having a child at 14 years old, I obviously was out doing wild shit. Like, I wasn't being monitored. And I don't want that for my children either, right? So like we have to figure out this balance to where they're allowed
Yeah,
to live
sure.
life, but we also navigate them through it. There's been conversations that I've had with my older teenagers that all three of my older kids that I feel like a lot of teenagers and young adults wouldn't be comfortable talking about with their parents. And for those things, some of those things I've been able to navigate my kids through it safely to where the conversation begins with them doing something that I don't necessarily approve of because it's not safe. And we kind of navigate through it together. And then they end up not making that same mistake because we had a conversation, and the way I approached it was I'm not being judgmental. I'm giving you information and I'm helping you make a better choice.
Hmm.
And I didn't have that kind of relationship with my parents,
Yeah, me
like,
too. Me too. I mean, yeah, from the best they did, they did what they could, and how
right,
we understood that.
right.
That's of course, I respect them and I love them so much, and we are great parents, and all parents are great, But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, yeah, no,
But
I
I
agree.
think I think your level of concern and your level of consistent involvement is very imperative to the choices that your son makes because he can have conversations with you and explaining simple things like this is why you need to come home at this certain time or this is why you have to make sure I know where you are. And I know that especially our older kids, they don't want us tracking their every move because they want freedom, right? But you also have to earn and be able to maintain that freedom. So if you're making choices that are unhealthy and unsafe, then you start losing freedoms until you can change the way that you're making choices.
Mm,
And that's very important too, because on a personal level, you and I briefly talked about, okay, well, what happens when he's not coming back at the time he's supposed to? Well, then
yeah.
he doesn't get to go. The next time they ask, the answer is no because you made the
Yeah,
wrong
because of
choice.
consequences
Right. And
after
then and
last
then
time.
next time we can try again. But there has to be that
Mm,
structure and there has to be consequences in place. And the consequences should always be age appropriate, mentally developmentally appropriate as well, for people who are for the parents who are or the caregivers who are listening are that, the consequences should always be age appropriate and
mm,
developmentally appropriate because what your child comprehends may be different than what another child his age comprehends. And to throw that out there, that is in my mom brain book, does
yeah.
briefly talk about emotional development at different ages. And so whether they're 18, whether they're 10, whether they're 2, consequences are important, but also the appropriateness of their developmental um, relevance is also important when we're giving out those consequences too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very informative. I mean, yeah, I really do understand. And I always follow you. When I speak to you, and the last time it wasn't a podcast, we had a session with you last week, I think, and then he
Yeah.
came late and I was worrying, like I've been calling. This was actually the first time, to be honest. That's a
Yeah.
good point. Like, so he came, I called to my ex-husband and I was looking for, because I thought maybe he's picking him up, which I knew he didn't. But I
Yeah.
thought maybe, who knows? And nobody answered. And he came back later and he wasn't like, well, I was with my friend after school. Straight away, you have to tell me what. And that
Right.
was like shock for
Right.
me. And his reaction also was like, what's wrong? And he's literally like, he honestly didn't understand that something isn't right. Why? We all went to his house. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a new experience for both of us. For me, like I was really scared and shocked, like that he's got, like I knew like it's nothing maybe wrong. Well, what could happen, Like, yes, maybe he is somewhere like playing delaying, or maybe my ex want to him and for,
Yeah.
because he always going home with his friends. They living like, I can like wave through window. But yeah, it was like, okay, that's new for me. That's a new experience. And also, yeah.
Yeah, but I think we talked about this privately too, that like sometimes they have to experience things to learn from them, right? Like
Of
we do that as
course.
adults. Sometimes we have to, and even like my oldest daughter, when she was probably about 18, she said something like this to me. She's like, I understand that this decision could have negative consequences if I handle it a certain way. She said, but sometimes I have to experience things to learn from them myself. And first I was like, well, that's crazy. And then I thought about it and I was like, well, I mean, it's true, right? And it makes sense. And especially for someone with an 18-year-old brain, most of life to them is like, well, it could or couldn't go that way.
Mm,
Maybe it won't happen. Maybe the bad thing won't happen. We'll see. Because they don't have a 30 or 40-year-old brain to tell them,
yeah.
well, this is often what happens when you make that choice. But, it's never anything like life threatening or like, is my safety in question or anything like that. Like, and I explained to her when that way of thinking becomes an issue is when you're putting yourself or someone else's safety at risk. So I understand, and I had to kind of learn from that moment from my 18-year-old, like, okay, there are things in life that sometimes we just have to experience for ourselves to be able to learn from. And as
Mm,
long as someone's life or health isn't at risk, sometimes we just have to let that happen. And it's hard because we want to control everything around their world so that nothing ever happens to them bad. But sometimes they have to go through certain things to learn that consequence firsthand, you know?
yeah. And again, if you would look from a little bit like spiritual perspective, like I love to talk about that a lot because, I truly believe that we all came here with a purpose and we have our lessons we need to learn through life. And the children, he's just evolving. They are evolving, we're growing, we have to experience what we have to experience. We will have to face difficult challenges, and we can be always here for them, we can educate them, we can talk to them, and but also respect that they also need to grow, to learn, and nobody do that for them. And yeah, if we will keep them in in that safe bubble and try to protect from everything, also some parents, I really sometimes hear that and see that parents, we we trying to introduce them to the world like from negative perspective, like you have to be very
Yeah,
careful because it's very dangerous. And
right,
if it's dark, so probably somebody will come and do something for you. So
right.
we are literally, they operating from scarcity, so we want the children believe that the world is bad, everyone is bad for you, and you if some if you late something gonna happen
Yeah,
definitely. I don't want to do so. I don't want my
right.
son would feel unsafe. I want him to feel safe anywhere he is.
Whether your kids are older, whether your kids are small, whether they're college age or just going into school, I think we all can take kind of a common message from, this experience of like having these changes and trying to navigate through these changes. We're always nonstop navigating our own lives, and whether that may be changes or whether our lives be consistent. Our bodies change, all these different things, even if our outside factors stay the same. And sometimes it can be really difficult to navigate our own lives and the changing lives of our children and things they're going through. And I think that communication is always key in any relationship, right? Finding
Mm,
a way to finding a healthy way to communicate what we're going through, what they're going through, how it impacts what both of us in this relationship. And it can be difficult, but I think communication is always imperative. And reaching out to a support person, whether it be a coach, whether it be a family member, a therapist, a friend, somebody in your community to do play dates with, or, you know, somebody to have conversations with, whether it's virtual coffee chat or, like you and I will have conversations through coaching or even just separate conversations about life, and it can be really helpful. Whether and technology has made it easier for us to, like, you and I would have never physically bumped into each other in the street, right? But through technology, we're able to have this great relationship personally and professionally, and that's a really cool thing too.
mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I totally agree. Thank you so much for as always, I have to say thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. Yes, you have 5 children, and you have a grandchildren, and I mean big family, but that's also um how to express myself, but um I think I think yeah, I think it doesn't matter how many children you have, or not every parent even would have a ton children would share these, I mean, valuable advices, because I appreciate, because you're operating from the different perspective. You are like a modern mother, if I can say this, like modern mother, because maybe it's also we can actually speak. Maybe that's for next topic. Just came to my mind
Uh-huh.
because you have children. They are really different ages,
Yeah.
and it's kind of really interesting because you have to balance between like 10 years old and even 20, more than 20 years old children. So at the same time, and you are still very young, in your soul, and you are modern, and I mean, so yeah, I do appreciate always your advices and support. And And this is also, I do believe, that's that's so strange because it's a third episode, and in every episode I'm bringing new experiences. Like, what's going on in my life? My life just literally, I am just, I don't know. I never was so happy like I am now. Even thought like I had so many difficulties now, over the last couple of months, and you was always here, everything, but I mean, I feel so excited, so grateful for our communication, conversations, and sessions, and the podcast. People just see our episodes, but actually, we are communicating behind the scenes 24/7. So,
Yes.
I love it, and yeah, thank you so much for all your support, not just to me. We share experiences. You helping me, we supporting each other, but I do believe that every parent can take something also from our episodes,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
then to be parent, it's very familiar, I think, to everyone. So
Mhm.
yeah.
No, but I really appreciate that. And I feel the same way. Like, I'm really, really glad that we've been able to build the relationship that we have because, you know, yes, I have more kids and my kids are older and, whatever the case may be, but I'm also still a woman, outside of being a mom. And there are a lot of conversations that we've had that, help me in that way. Like, we as moms need support as women too, and you teach me things that I can use in my life, in my personal life. My personal life reflects into my
Of
parenting,
course.
and
Yeah.
just, different ways to manage certain things like uh uh I can't think of the word. Man,
Affirmation.
yes. Like, I've heard the word before, but I never considered practicing it. Like, it's one of those things like, oh, I've heard about it, but that's not for me, or I don't know if it works, blah blah blah, and like, it's something that you really brought to my attention and made me think about. And now it's something that, like, it's a part of my life, and I can see, I can see the changes that it brings. And just focusing on being more in charge of your own life, focusing on the positive parts of your life. Like, we all go through shit, right? Like, we all
Yeah.
have difficult times, but understanding how to navigate those times and with this optimistic and hopeful perspective is really beneficial, and it benefits my personal life, and that personal life that reflects into my parenting, and so
For
I
sure.
think we are just a really phenomenal team. First of all, we
Oh,
make a really
yeah.
great team.
Um, yeah, I mean, maybe we some point we record some other episodes, maybe on our own podcast. I mean, how how we met and how everything happened in a certain time and with
Yeah,
certain similar experiences. And I mean that this is something like, I don't know, that's so magical, it's so powerful. Again, showing that universe sending you right people, right time.
yeah, yeah,
Even, I mean, that time can be so difficult and so weird time. I mean, like the worst time in your life, and she is literally rewarding you. If you would look at this, you
yeah,
would take everything from your experiences, you learn from lessons, what you've done wrong, and you can rise all above everything anyways. But yeah, you was my gift. I know the day you text me, I know the circumstances, and and again, and then our experiences, then it comes to these particular challenges are the
yeah.
same.
And
So
yeah, and it's
wow.
funny because, like, you know, we have conversations outside, and we have conversations sometimes like we're going through difficult things, so we're not like all smiles and sunshine and positivity, and
Rainbows
we
and unicorns, yeah.
right, and I want to point out too, like, how I mean, I'm gonna say both of us, but I'm gonna speak for myself in regards to you, how you are on this podcast, because people can be very like, oh, and you saw it recently with someone, someone you had a conversation with. Well, like people can be very, oh, I'm very polished and proper and happy and blah 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 on this podcast because I want the world to see me that way. And then the camera cuts and it's just like, and now I'm just like a different person. And, you know, I've been really privileged to have conversations with you, even in the moment of like going through something, having a conversation with your son that's like, maybe a little bit like a glimpse into your parenting, like something happens and I watch you as you react to it. And like, I'm just, I'm very proud of you. And I'm like, I'm, I'm, I'm very grateful to have you in my life. And even outside of the podcast episode, the recording, whatever, like I am very grateful to have met you and to have you as part of my circle. And, like, and I'm also grateful to see those moments too, like to see when I, I'm just being a person, not trying to be perfect, because we can
Mm,
kind of, when we are out in the world and we're trying to project a certain image to, those around us, it can be easy to kind of, this is why I never would want to be a social media influencer because this is just not me, right? Like the people who have watched either one of my podcasts have watched me long enough to know like this is how I am. Like I'm not,
yeah,
you
I
know, so
understand.
I feel very privileged to be able to have that relationship with you where I can see you in moments of
Y-
vulnerability too.
Yeah, but I have to add that, like I'm not calling myself like influencer, but at some point I am, like that my
Right.
public image and everything. But I had a privilege to be in a worse position in my life in public,
Yeah.
and then all the newspapers wrote about me negatively. And you came into my life, and I was so down in a worst period of my life. I never ever had that period. As I mean, that was the worst, and I hope no, it's gone. And
Right.
I built it everything step by step. I didn't believe that. I mean, I will stay there because I knew I'm not. I mean, all that stuff. That's for another topic. Maybe sometime we're gonna record, but
Yeah.
so people literally washed me like in a washing machine, and they criticized me and judged me and talked about me negatively. And I mean, now everything is changing, and I'm so happy because you always was with me all that period. So you were supporting me and my son. It's also affected my son too.
Yeah.
So you supported us, and you see how I'm still growing and evolving. And I mean, I'm not letting my past define me. I still, and so yeah. And yeah, and I don't want to pretend. I mean, like nobody's perfect, and these glamorous, always nice people on the media. Yes, at some point they are, but they all have stories, and they all have their wounds and lives, and we all are just human beings.
Yeah.
But I really do understand that, and I just literally put all the pieces together like I was broken in million of pieces, and I feel like I'm just the most natural I am now than I ever was, and I'm probably gonna stay. I want that to stay because this is real, this is natural, and then you survive all the huge difficult things. It's nothing like can broke you anymore, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm really enjoying this podcast. I mean, these sessions, and the can again, we can feel each other, and yeah, and the supporting each other, and our kids also more happier because of that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
also, all that energy we just spreading to the world. This is exactly what we do. So if anybody wants some support in parenting, in relationships. This is Reah, who can guide you, who can support you. I mean, yeah, watch. I would encourage people, if somebody will watch like a first time, they just found the third episode, please
Yeah.
watch from the first one, so you will see even
Yes.
my energy how it's changing over. I mean, episode by episode. Because when we started, it was like a difficult period, and we just started to collaborate. How are we showing up now? And everything is
Yeah.
sorted, and we are know each other so well, and the kids and everything. So this is again a proof of your support and help. So yeah, if you will watch from the first episode, you will see how much I evolved. Um,
Yeah.
so
No, but I love that you point that out too, because, I've had a conversation with somebody today, and I've had this conversation with my husband, and kind of piggybacking on the comment I made about not wanting to be a social media influencer in a way that, like, I don't want cameras following around my life, and but we are influencing, right? Like, we are influencing other people's lives by doing this, by podcasting and coaching, and we kind of do have to put ourselves out there as influencers. But I love the fact that you kind of point out your evolvement, your involvement through
evolvement.
the episodes, because it is a good way to reflect, you know, what I do as a coach, because you can literally see it in your own life, and same with me for personal development, because we're just covering finances when it comes to your coaching of me, but that's, like, to me, the most necessary starting point in my,
Yeah, yeah, but
you
it
know,
everything comes together. It's you think
absolutely.
you literally just think like that, but because we are just communicating, and I'm bringing a lot of personal development I mean in daily life. This is my
Yeah,
life, so you also learning these things, unconsciously. I don't
yeah,
have to, or you don't have to literally be conscious on what you um receiving, what information you're getting from, I mean, different sources.
yeah,
But because everything around me is personal development, the posts I post or something I do, you also are unconsciously involved in that. So, and yes, you're working on finances, which I know really improving, which I am really
yeah.
happy about. So I see progress. I'm very happy. And yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep watching us, because we are creating something meaningful.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like, the progress is definitely there. It's definitely apparent. You can see it just watching us over time. Um,
Yeah.
but
But
what
for
is there?
today, maybe enough. Maybe we are just going to wrap up.
Is there anything else that you wanted to point out or anything?
No, not really. To be honest, I think I am very happy what we spoken today and what we've shared. And I'm taking up. I am going away with. I mean, I'm so grateful. My heart full of love. I am happy, and um, yeah, yeah. And I'm gonna go to watch movie tonight with my son, because yeah, if he will still want to do so with me.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate this conversation as always, and we appreciate you guys listening. And you know, uh, I am committing to promoting more, because that is one thing that I kind of fall short of. And I know there's a lot of people who would love to hear this conversation because they can relate, or they know someone who can relate. And
Mm,
so, you know, look out for us a little bit more, because I'm going to work on that this
mm-hmm.
month. Between now and next month, I'm going to work on really promoting, because I'm, you know, I'm, I suck at it, but I'm working on it.
Yeah, but you have to not to forget also balance on yourself,
Hmm.
we have to promote, you have to do something, but it has to be in a logic and balanced way.
Yeah,
And you know the I think those, this is like the universe and everything is working. Those who need, they will hear the message, they will find, they will
yeah,
you attract what you have to attract, you like a magnet. An episode is also, it's a magnet to those who need to hear this. So one and another way we will find.
yeah.
But yeah,
That's a good point.
going forward. But yes, but of course we have to put work in anyways. We can't, just to ignore that, that they have to do so. So yeah. But
Yeah.
anyways, thank you so much for listening us today, and we will see you next month.
Oh, next month is December too. Maybe we'll do something,
Yeah, it's gonna. Oh, we
something
have that
fun.
idea. We have a plan for Christmas podcast. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. Will be
So,
cool.
yeah, be looking out for that too.
Okay, bye bye.
All right.
See you
See ya.
soon. Bye.
Say what I want you to say. I know, Mom. I know, Mom. Okay, that was good. Thank you. Visit www.falolity.net to check out our workbooks, automatically receive our weekly wrap ins, monthly blog emails, and much more.